Hello, BIS students. Okay, I know exam season is here, and it can feel like a lot, but don't sweat it. We're going to break down Mr. Hawker's announcement piece by piece. Think of this as your personal study guide, your roadmap to absolutely acing that Arabic exam. All right, so here's our game plan for today. We've got 7 key topics straight from the announcement that we are going to master. We'll hit them one by one, so you'll know exactly what to focus on. Ready? Let's dive in. First up on our list, text comprehension. Now, the exam is going to get really specific here. It's all about that text on music, which, you can find on pages 30 to 34 in your textbook. So this first question is all about how well you can analyze what you've read. Now, the key here isn't just to skim the text. No, you've got to break it down. You need to be able to pinpoint the main ideas and pull out all that key vocabulary about music. This mind map from the book, it's a perfect model of how you should be thinking about the text, connecting all those concepts together. Okay, so building on that idea of vocabulary, our next section is all about words and their synonyms. In Arabic, we call this wasl kalima bimuradifiha, which literally just means connect the word with its synonym. Simple as that. What's really important to get here is that this is more than just a simple matching game. It's about understanding nuance. A bunch of words might seem similar, but which one is the perfect fit? This kind of exercise tests your ability to spot that perfect match. So to make this whole thing easier, my advice is to focus on memorizing these key pairs. For instance, musa'ada and aun. They both mean help or assistance. Or taqri'a and tatali', which both mean you read. And sabr and jalid, both related to patience. Seriously, making flashcards from the book's vocab lists is probably the best strategy you can use here. All right, let's switch gears and get into some grammar. This section is all about telling the difference between the 2 main types of Arabic verbs, abstract and augmented. Trust me, getting this down is a huge deal. So first, you've got the abstract verb, or al-fi'l al-mujarrad. The best way to think about this is like the verb's DNA. It's the basic 3-letter root with absolutely nothing extra added. A perfect example is alima, he knew. And then you've got the other type, the augmented verb, or al-fi'l al-mazid. This is where we take that basic DNA, that root, and we start adding letters to create totally new but related meanings. So if we take our root alima and augment it, we can get ista'lama, which means he inquired. See the difference? And hey, look at this. Right out of your textbook, it lays the rule out plain and simple. It honestly just boils down to this. If the verb only has its original root letters, it's mujarrad. If you spot any extra letters, it's mazid. On the exam, your whole job is just spot that difference. All right, next topic. We're going to shift our focus a bit to sentence structure. This section is all about changing the spotlight from the person doing the action, that's the active voice, to the action itself, which is the passive voice. These 3 steps are your golden formula. To build the passive voice, or what's called al-mabni li-majhul, you just follow the recipe. First, you get rid of the doer. Second, the object becomes the new subject. And third, and this is super important, you change the verb's vowels. Let's make this real with a great example from the book. In the active sentence, the farmer plants the wheat. We know exactly who's doing the planting. It's the farmer, the falah. But in the passive version, poof, the farmer is gone. The focus is now on the wheat. And notice the verb, yizra'u, becomes yuzra'u. That little vowel shift is everything. It's the signal that you're in the passive voice. Okay, let's tackle a topic that can be a real headache for a lot of students, the hamza. Now, for the exam, you're not just going to write it. Nope. You have to be able to explain why it's written a certain way. This is called talil kitabat al-hamza. So, what's the deal with the hamza in the middle of a word, the al-hamza al-mutawassita? Well, it all depends on its own vowel and the vowel of the letter that comes right before it. A really cool way to think about it is like a battle of the vowels. The stronger vowel always wins and decides how the hamza gets written. So here's one of your secret weapons, a rule straight from page 22. Let's use the word kira'a as our example. You see the hamza? It has a fatha vowel, and it comes right after a long aleph. Boom! The rule kicks in. When that happens, the hamza has to be written all by itself on the line. It's all about recognizing these patterns. Master the rules, and you'll master the hamza. Okay, moving on from all that nitty-gritty grammar, let's talk about
التعبير الكتابي, or written expression. This is where you get to show off your descriptive writing skills. It's not just about being correct, it's about being creative and well-structured.
Pro tip, don't just start writing blindly. Your book gives you this perfect, clear framework, so use it. Start with an introduction, al-muqaddimah, to set the scene. Then, in the body, sulb al-mawdu', you pack in all your juicy details. And finally, you wrap it all up with a conclusion, al-khatimah, to share your final thoughts or feelings. Easy peasy. And for our final topic, we're actually circling right back to those abstract and augmented verbs we talked about earlier. This time, we're focusing on the specific patterns, or awzan, that we use to create all those new meanings. You're gonna love this diagram. It's basically your best friend for this section. It lets you visually see how a simple root verb like kharaja, meaning to go out, can totally transform. You can watch it become akhraja, or takharaja, or even istakhraja. It's like watching the verb evolve right in front of you. And remember, this is so important. You're not just adding letters randomly. Each pattern, each wazn, adds a whole new layer of meaning. That istaf'ala pattern, for example, often adds the idea of seeking or asking for something. So it's not just changing a word, it's like you're unlocking a new power in the language. And there we go. That's it. That's our complete roadmap based entirely on Mr. Hawker's announcement. Run through this checklist, review those pages in your textbook, and really, really focus on the parts you find a little tricky. You have all the tools. You have the exact topics. Now it's just about putting in the practice. You can totally do this. Good luck with your studies. Now go and crush that exam.